In today's fast-paced real estate landscape, success demands more than surface-level expertise. It requires insight, adaptability, proven strategies, discipline, and the ability to take risk. The Agent Brew podcast blends candid conversations with wisdom from industry leaders who've walked the path before you. Think of us as your strategic pit stop to fuel your real estate journey. From the crossroads of the world in the heart of Times Square, welcome to the Agent Brew, a podcast that percolates real estate insights. I'm your host, Eric Zollinger of Realty Co. Thank you for joining us. I'm glad you're here. Whether you're joining us via YouTube or listening to us as a podcast, sit back, grab your favorite cup of joe or coffee or your favorite beverage, and listen to one agent's journey through this crazy industry called real estate. On today's episode, we'd like to welcome superstar agent and friend Limor Nesher from Elegran-Forbes Global Properties. Welcome, Limor.
Thank you, Eric. How are you?
Very well, thanks. It's good to see you.
And thank you for having me.
It's such a pleasure. So let's get started. And the feedback I've already received is that it should be, how do we know one another? And I'm happy to say that we worked together while I was at Elegran. And you've been such a great ray of sunshine since I've known you. And your desk literally sits at the end of a row with this very large window that faces south. The sun just comes pouring in, and it's just like you're always in a natural spotlight. But not just that, you have these beautiful plants, and you also have your vision board that every time I walk by it, it's constantly front of thought. So it's so great to know you. Thank you for coming today. And before we have you give your real estate elevator pitch, I'd love for people to hear, where did you grow up? Where are you from? And what did you do prior to real estate?
Thanks for asking. So it's a long journey, but I started, I was born in Israel, and I'm an artist. I learned and studied fashion design. I always wanted to be a fashion designer, and I'm an artist of many, many other platforms. We came to America, me and my husband, in 2003 to New York City, thinking to promote our art and do fashion and just visual art. Throughout my years of fashion, specifically when I was a student, I started doing telemarketing, to pay my rent, and it turned out to be really good. I learned that the commission-based structure cannot give me a ceiling. I can be my own ceiling, and I was looking for ways to keep doing my art while pay for it. So telemarketing was good. When we came to America, I started working in the Diamond District. That was just 9-to-5 job that did not leave me any time to do my art or to do anything else for that sake. And it did not pay my bills the way I wanted. My husband started doing real estate at that point. And after a few months, he told me, you should come, start making calls. You're good at it. And when I did move, I did in the first 7 months, I started in a small firm, and that was really supportive. And I started calling owners, and apparently my telemarketing skills were working, and I connected well over the phone, and we started getting listings. It was really street hustling our way. And then I moved to do sales after 7 months, the same thing. And then I jumped from one company to another, then to another. I was 11 years with a company that I felt that it allows me and enables me to grow in many ways, including new developments and different, even commercial properties. So I was touching every aspect of real estate, from rentals to residential to commercial, new developments, resales, done it all. Eventually moved to a company that was more technology savvy. It was a short stunt. And then I found myself moving to Elegran, that had a combination of what I loved in a boutique firm, a great CRM, and technology. So, and then I met Eric.
That's great. So you came to real estate because you were looking for something to pay for that you could do your art, which I find so fascinating that everybody has their own journey on why they come into the business, but yours was simply so you could do something that you truly enjoyed.
Yes, and also that inspires me to just continue to be happy, I think.
That's great. That's fantastic. So over that time, were there many struggles? I mean, I know we've just gone and traversed over many, many years, I believe 11 or 12. And what would you say was one of your biggest challenges during that time?
I think my greatest challenge has been staying in touch with clients and cultivating big networks. Over the years, I did help so many people, but I never got really a glimpse of how I'm changing their lives and how I'm helpful. And therefore, I didn't see a pattern of me following up and staying connected because I'm very personal in my life. And I think working in a technology oriented company and CRMs kind of like exposed to me my failures in doing that and enabled me to see my added value from many aspects. First of all, to stay connected to my clients in many ways. I mean, even simple ways of just telling them what's new, updates about the markets, stuff that I love. And then, so I think that has been my greatest challenge, keeping a network and building it year after year. But I'm doing it. I'm doing it now. And now that I know what was my failure, I'm taking care of it.
That's great. Uh, One of the things we like to do here at the Agent Brew is play the gratitude game, but we like to play it with a little twist. Since this is a coffee break, we like to play the gratitude game not as a rose, thorn, bud, but as the aroma, the brew, the coffee grinds, and then the fresh beans. So to play this game, we're going to start off with the aroma, which is like the first rose. What is energizing you right now? What would you say is going great?
So two things. One is gratitude that I'm getting back from my clients. So that is exciting to see how I'm literally changing lives and helping people. And the other one is that I have a muse. And as an artist, muse is a very big thing. So right now, as you ask, my muse is on.
That's great. So as far as the second rose, the brew, so it's that first cup of coffee. What has brought you a deeper joy or satisfaction recently?
A big win has been, again, gratitude, big appreciation from clients. Just recently, I made a deal. I found a deal that was off market for one of my clients that was looking for a while in a specific area. And, fortune had it that it was a seller that was trying to offload her property for a long while. And I found them in this minute that both of them really needed each other. And I made it happen for both of them. And I got tremendous gratitude from those one person that I never met before, that I really, really helped. And my client that was shocked that she was able to find this place. So gratitude, I'm going back to that, fills me that I'm hearing back the feedback of what I
Mm-hmm.
was able to do. That for me was just my job.
Right. So when you say it's just your job, but were there certain things that you have in place that you were able to find then that off-market deal because of relationships, or was it something you were doing?
No, it was not relationship. It was scouting.
Oh.
It's a level that we have been doing as agents, and we do it all the time. It's just
Hmm.
finding that a needle in a haystack in a market that you can't find anything. But it was literally looking for the right place and knowing my clients so well that without them even foot on the ground, I knew exactly what would work for them. Hearing them, knowing exactly what would work, I went in and I knew that this is the place. And it happened. So
That's great. Uh, Do you mind me asking how long was that time period? What was it, something that was a short term, or had you been working with this person a long time?
On that specific transaction, that's a person that bought with me and sold with me stuff in the past. Over the years, that family was able to open a management business, managing the properties that they bought with me, and it enabled them to be landlords. And then over the years, they were selling, buying, and this time around, they are retiring or getting a little bit that feel that they want to retire, and they were looking for something for themselves. And it was very narrow on a strip that is on the park between a certain street to another street, specific buildings or type of buildings. And that was a whimsical thing. They were here over the weekend, called me on a Sunday, told me, we're here. We want to tour in this area, this type of buildings. This is for us this time. It's not an investment. And I knew exactly what they were looking for, but there was nothing. And there were only 2 properties. I told them, when are you coming again? They said, no, we are here now. And I said, but when are you coming again? They told me, we can come again in a month. So I said, give me 2 weeks. So it was over the course of 2 weeks, I was able to find maybe 7 options that were maybe possibly going to work. Out of them, they wanted to see only 2. And out of them, we made a deal with 1. And that person happens to be a very, very famous person in real estate that I didn't know. It started very worried. But it also was a struggle to move that property for various reasons. And when I came in, it was just a perfect fit for my clients. We just had to find the right, combination of what's included and what's not.
So moving on to the coffee grounds. So the thorn in your side, Limor, has there been something recently that has caused you frustration? It's been difficult to kind of get over. It's somewhat of an obstacle. And how were you able to overcome that?
Interestingly enough, there were a lot of things that were bothering me along my 20 years. Some of them I was not honest about them, I think, with myself. I read this book recently that is called The Full Fee Agent. And it helped me identify those things that are an obstacle and that bother me.
What would be some of those obstacles or hindrances?
Some of them is habits that
okay.
connect you with people that you shouldn't be working with. Some of them are habits that we have and we honed because of maybe our beginning was, one, and then we changed as people, or we moved on from it, and we still carry with us some old habits that we just made up to survive. So I think that one of my things that this book helped me identify is that I carry very negative relationships, and I move on with them instead of just releasing them, because we are all people, and it's the industry is basically about humans, and like falling in love with someone or like any relationship, you don't have to move together. You don't have to carry on together. You don't. You can just let it go. And sometimes there is a phrase that says, if you love someone, just let them go. And if they really like you, they come back. I'm seeing it happening because I let go. And in the past, it was a lot about a transaction. So when you are looking at a transaction as an agent that's starting, it's a lot about you. You put yourself in it. And now I'm realizing that this was an obstacle in my life because it's not about me.
And since you've cut some of that dead weight or negativity away, have you noticed a big difference?
Yeah, very, very, very big difference. First of all, my approach is more casual, open-minded, and stress-free because it's not about me. It's going back to my days in customer service before I did telemarketing that basically say there is someone that needs your help and you know that you can give them this added value because this is what you do. And when you take care of them and represent their best interest, this is the added value that you bring to the table. Now, if they want this service or not, it's up to them. So it's really not about me. So it's stress-free environment for me because it's not about me at all. It's about how do I get them the place that they want, or how do I sell this place?
Right. A service industry. That's something that many people forget, that we are a full service industry. So to finish up the gratitude game, the fresh beans, it's like a bud, something that's about to blossom and really unfold. Is there something you're working on right now that you're really looking forward to, or something in the near future, or something that you just did that was just really exciting that just you're really proud of as well?
So I'm a very optimistic person, and I can tell you that I'm looking forward to a very, very big thing, but I don't know what it is, and I think I'm going to find out soon.
Good to know. So, I guess a way to work back in, I mentioned earlier about your vision board. And so you have that at your desk right there in front of you. I know there was a different one last year and you've changed it out for 2025. Do you find that vision boards work for you?
Yeah, it's interesting. And as a visual artist, I would think that I would create something of that on my own, but I did not. My manager that I log at Elegran did this little exercise last year, and I was really intrigued. And I said, "Cool, cool." The first thing I put on my board last year was not a picture. Surprisingly for me, it was not a picture or art or anything colorful. It was a sentence that says, "Bloom where you are planted." And as a new agent at Elegran, it was important for me to kind of like stick my roots and see if I can bloom. And at the end of this cycle, at the end of this year, I got an award, year-over-year growth, which is, to me, a vision board come true. I have to say that most of the things on my vision board of last year came to be true. Some places that I've toured that I never thought I'm going to visit, but were on my board, I literally were in these places without knowing where they are, but they were there. And if I still have things that are not finished, yes, it's true. But that's why I carry the board. I did not throw it. It's under my table on the side because I believe in building upon our past and not throw it.
It's great. So we like to finish up every week by our advice time. If you could give your younger self, your younger agent self, any piece of advice, what would it be?
I would say be an intern.
And why would you say be an intern?
So it's funny because as a younger person, I was full of pride, as a lot of young people are, and I didn't think that working for peanuts or not getting paid at all would do good for me. I thought I can do it on my own and make a lot of money and then open my own things and all. But what I did forget is that we get burned and we get scars. And as an intern, you get all the essence, especially if you're being taught by a good mentor. You're getting all the essence, and you would probably get less hurt, less burned, and less scars moving forward. So if I was to recommend or give any advice to younger me or any younger people in this industry, I would say, yes, be an intern, learn from someone, learn the ins and outs so you don't have to be a street hustler. You're going to gain much more than doing it on your own.
I have to admit, I love that advice. And that's exactly what I did back in the day, 25 years ago. I was an assistant to two top agents, and I literally learned the business from the bottom rung up. And it really prepared me for really a lifetime career. And I still think back to a lot of those things that I had to do as an assistant. Or as, I wasn't necessarily an intern, but, it's those valuable skills and just being really exposed to the industry that certainly I think is just really unmatched with the experience I was able to achieve with that. So point well taken. So thank you so much for joining us today, Limor. I really appreciate you being part of our episode in season 1 for the Agent Brew.
And thank you for having me and for doing this, because this is a very intrigued industry. And I think that what you're doing is very, very lovely to bring some rays of sunshine.
Well, thank you. And so we conclude each episode with a positive quote. This week's quote is one of Limor's favorites, and I wanted to use it because I thought it was so fitting. The only true wisdom is knowing that you know nothing. And that's from Socrates. Thank you for spending this coffee break with us. Thank you to our guest today, Limor Nesher of Elegran-Forbes Global Properties. Thank you for sharing your insights. I'm Eric Zollinger of Realty Co., reminding you it's a great day for real estate. The Agent Brew podcast is brought to you by Realty Co. Realty Co. is your partner in real estate, bringing you game-changing benefits and services to empower your business. Visit realtyco.com for more information.